And added stream marker. Perfect. Okay, so if you're not familiar or you're new or you're watching, I have been going through the Nature of Code book. It is a book by Daniel Schiffman. Let me pull that up. We are on chapter 1 of it, but more importantly, the book is written in processing, which is, I guess you could almost think of it as a subset or superset of Java. It runs in the JVM. This is the book itself. That being said, I have been going through and doing some of the more interesting examples from now the introduction and chapter 1 in Rust. And I'm also using the GGEZ game engine instead of processing. This book is free, so if you want to read it online, you can. I actually have a physical copy that I purchased because I want to support Dan Schiffman, and also because I just sometimes like having these books physically. I find that it's a little bit easier to read them, at least some of them. So we are down here on the ecosystem project. And we have implemented a bunch of things. So if I restart this again. We have the white dots, which are walkers. They're just randomly walking around and they wrap around the screen. So they just sort of wander around the arena. If they envelop a little bit of food, they're going to eat it. Now, at this point in time, anything that's green or red is food. They can eat it, they'll grow. But they're constantly losing energy as they walk too, which obviously makes them shrink down. Eventually they'll disappear and then die. So we want to make some of the food poisonous. So that way if they eat it, it shrinks them even more. So I have a food structure. I also have a Twitch bot, a highlight bot active on this on my VS Code here. So you can do bang line. So for example, I could do, if we do bang line, let's see, 24. That will highlight line 24 here. If you have a message with it, it'll do that. I could then, unfortunately, I can't turn them off. So you'll have to turn them off for me again. So bang line, and then bang the line number, so 24. And that will turn it off. So this way, I hope that you can pair program with me and sort of like, if I make a mistake, highlight it, let me know. Or if you have questions about like what a specific line is doing, highlight those as well. All right. So with that, we have our foods. Do we have a foods or is it just food? Yeah, we have all the foods. Now I'm thinking the food begins with a certain amount of nutrition. And I'm thinking now that maybe it will all begin with the same amount of nutrition. So instead of randomizing that, so here's this calories. Alka, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. So we have calories here. That's like the health that it transfers over when it gets eaten. I'm thinking we can increase the amount of it and not necessarily use randomness here. So calories, it's just trend range between like 0.1 and 5. What if I just say that this is something like 10.0 to begin with, which is huge. Now the other problem is I've set the size to be equal to calories times 2. I kind of want to just now make this size static. So that's going to be something like 5.0. So if I do this, I also want the food to go down. So just over time, it loses value. So that seems to me like some kind of update. I could just also have like yeah, I think an update. Mutable self. And what else? I'm gonna need the number of ticks, which is a U size. That to me I want to store also how many like lose calories every n ticks. So calorie loss rate. This will be an U size. And maybe also like a calorie loss amount. I'm only putting it here so I prevent it from becoming a magic number by like putting that in the update itself. So this will be an F32 to match the calories here. Okay, so then food here we have calorie loss rate and U size. So let's make this every 100 ticks, and calorie loss amount we'll lose 1. So every 100 ticks we'll lose 1 calorie. Okay, so then all we need is the ticks right now. We're not going to return anything. By the way, is the size for this good? I want to make sure that you can see this properly. So in our update, we're simply going to compare our ticks to the calories. So we're just going, good for you, but you generally see programming streams fine. Awesome. Well, if it is not good for anyone else, let me know and I can increase the font size. If cell, well, let's do if ticks. So if that modulus self dot calorie loss rate, if that's equal to 0. Katali, good morning, hello. I can't forget that I actually made myself some tea this morning. Okay, ticks, calorie loss rate. Okay, so it's now been 100 ticks. Let's go ahead and we'll say self dot calories equals self dot calories minus self dot calories loss amount. So then that way it will just like continues to go down. Now that can go into the negative now, which would be, that would be the poison, right? Because if you add a negative number, it's going to shrink everything else. Now there's no way for us to show that right now, but we can do that in a second. You know, oh, you know what? I want to then have the color. So in draw here, we have this color that's sort of random. It's randomly choosing between red and green. I'm almost thinking that we don't need this. We don't need to store the color anymore because we're going to dynamically choose we're going to create a color based upon what how healthy it is. Although now that I think about it, I'll just flip it and update. That might be good. So color will still be, can't you subtract a float from a vector? No, I don't think I can. Which is no field, calorie loss amount. What are you talking about? It's right here. It depends, right? Because the vector can have F32s in their types, or it can have U sizes or anything else. They have to be the same size. But calories here is just an F32. So calorie loss rate. Food. Okay. Your mind just blew up. It happens. I don't know what time zone you're in, but I mean, for me, it's early morning, so it's easy for that to happen to me. Okay, so color, maybe the problem is because I'm just sitting here. If I do color again. 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Let's see, 12 minutes, no, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, well, it's nearing the end of the day. I mean, you get tired at that point in time, right? I understand what that's like. Okay, yeah. So apparently, if I remove a comma, it sort of goes crazy and thinks that none of these have been defined. So tell me what you think. Oh, and you just come from high school, so yeah, that's definitely gonna be tiring. Tell me what you think about this. I don't really like this. To sort of update the color here, which is a display thing, in update, where, okay, so I'm gonna update the ticks here. And if this is now 0, now I want to essentially do this again. So if self.calories, if that's now less than 0.0, I guess less than or equal to, just in case it is exactly 0.0, I want to now switch. So self.color equals color from RGB and red. So we're not doing red. We're not doing green. We're going to do blue. So this would be 255. Otherwise, we're going to keep it the same. And this color is just going to be color from RGB. And then we're going to say 255, 0, 0. Let's try this and we'll see how well. Okay, we need to run update. So that means that's gonna be mod and foods. So in update, so we're not. So let's see, what are we doing here? If ticks. So this is just adding the foods. But what I want to do is I want to loop through all the foods. So that's going to be for food in self.foods food.update. And so we need the ticks, but we already have them, so we can just pass that in. Okay, so cannot move out of cell foods. Okay, so can I get a reference to it here? And you cannot borrow food is mutable as behind. Okay, so can I get a mute version of it? Yes, okay, perfect. No errors. Let's see whether or not a food turns blue. Oh, that's pretty fast. I mean, so I'm seeing them. Oh, and did you see that? A guy went to eat a blue food and it just totally killed it instantly. I feel this might be a little bit too fast for it to change. The other thing is it's a fairly sudden changeover, and it's like almost impossible to tell what state the food is in. I bet what I could do. You can also remove a food if it's rotten for X seconds. Ooh, yeah, I could definitely do that. What section of the book I am? I'm in chapter 1. So, chapter 1, the end of chapter 1, I'm doing an ecosystem project. So, that's why everything is just a random walker. I've been spending more time on the ecosystem project than I have on the book. But I think also like I'm setting up this ecosystem project for future use. I like the idea of removing the food after it's dead. And I also like the idea of maybe changing the color of this. So what if you'll break out your physical copy? Yeah, I have one too. It is, I have to admit, the book is a really awesome book to have physically. I love the way it looks. Okay, so our foods here, we want, I kind of want to change the color as it goes down. So in processing, there's that map function, which is very different from like, you know, a map in a more functional programming sense. It's basically mapping a value between two different values. So if I wanted to say, okay, we start at 10 calories and we move down to like, you know, maybe as soon as it reaches like negative 10 calories, it disappears. I want to have like the blue sort of shift with that. What if I have the calories start at 255? It's like, this is gonna be crazy high, I know. But now I don't have the color stored in here. I don't have, so none here. And I don't set the color in here either. We're just gonna update the calories, and when we draw this, we're gonna set the color here. So let color equals color from RGB. And our oh, so we also need to determine if this is. Oh, so I'm gonna do a cool Rust thing here. I'm gonna actually say if self.calories is less than 0.0, then you happen, else you happen. So whatever returned from here will go into color. You think it's better to do it the old way because then you can animate the process of rotting, Well, what I was thinking of is it's going to slowly go fade towards blue. That's what I was thinking of. So green is always going to be 0. I want blue to now be self.calories. Actually, less than 0. Yeah, self.calories as U8. And U actually, you know what? It's always red that's 0. It's green. In this case is going to be 0, and you are going to be red 0. Green is going to be self.calories as a U8, and then 0. I return these into let the color. We need to semicolon the if, and they're going to use that calories. Mismatch types expected F32 found integers .0. Okay, so one error, no field color untype. Right, because you're not a self color anymore, you're just color. Okay, so no errors. Let's try this. Now I think if something eats it, it's gonna just grow to ginormous size. So I may want to change that, but let's see what happens. Yes, that grew way too big. So that's we're now inside of one of the walkers. So that's not cool. That is a massive walker. So it grew a little bit too big. I'm thinking so right now when it gets eaten, I think the walker has this. It has eat, and it just increases itself by food get calories. I'm thinking maybe it asks for like how many calories it has. The other thing that I can do is do this again from like 25. So that's mod. I want you. So if I set you to like 25, I'm reducing the amount by, actually, you know what? 10 might be fine here. If I, instead of lost by 1, what if I do 0 dot like 1? So that will like slow down the loss process. But now I need to take this and multiply by 25 for the color. So then times 25. I think that'll make it sort of like a deeper of the colors. Let's try it. All right, so now all I need to do is eat one before you all die. Oh wait. Okay, so here they're fading away. Some are growing, so this is looking pretty good so far. Ooh, okay, so we got a overflow on line 34 of food. So this times 25. It got too high. So it didn't like, oh, so when it went negative. So when calories went negative, it multiplied it by 25, which was, oh, wait, a U size. It multiplied it by negative, but that also made it go like into the negative, which that's not allowed. It's going to have to be a positive number. So we're going to have to multiply this by a negative 25. Otherwise, multiply it by a positive 25. Oh, and because U8 can't do this. Okay, so let me maybe set what this like scaled calories. So that scaled calories equals times 25. This has to be 0. Then we're going to set the color. This is going to be scaled calories. We still need to make this positive. It's an, oh wait, it's a negative F32. So you're going to be scaled calories dot, is there like an absolute value? I think it's like doc. Is that what it is? I don't think so. So I want a F32 ABS. Computes the absolute value of self, returns nan if the number is not a number. Okay, so I could just do dot ABS. So here we got this. So scaled calories dot ABS as a U8, and this one is just as a U8. All right, let's try that. Wait, I don't need you. You're already scaled. I don't need you to be multiplied again. Oh, and then 0. All right, so we should see the green sort of fade to black a little bit, and then it's going to fade in as blue as it's poisonous. Also, I think that as it goes down towards black, it's going to increase the size when it gets eaten down. Oh, this one the walkers aren't doing nearly as well. So I see some blue on mine. Oh, that walker just ate a blue, and therefore that just sealed its fate. I don't know, the blues are sort of like coming in and popping in a lot more. And now you can sort of see them come in a lot more. Interesting. They're disappearing and fading away, but not because I've like set them to die. There's are they going out of range of the U8? I think they're going out of range of the U8. So they're still there. I might be able to like choose different like a slightly different color, or figure out what the color might be better to sort of like make it pop out in the screen a little bit more. But let's not worry about that right now. Instead, let's now have it after it updates it, when the calories reach, so let's see, minimal calories, like so minimum calories. This can be a F32 to sort of match the calories. Our calories is currently just 10, so we'll just make this negative 10.0. And let's just have a quick getter for this of a public function is rotten. We'll return a boolean, and this will just simply return self dot calories is less than or equal to self dot minimum calories. You made an asteroids-like game in HTML5 canvas if you want to try it. Ooh, that might be fun. Maybe near the, like, after I get this one done, we can try it between the next segment. Okay, so we're gonna have is rotten here, and then so in our mod, we now need to remove these rotten foods from the foods list. What graphics library am I using? I'm using GGEZ. Oh, you posted on CJ's Discord? I will try it after the stream then. I don't have the Discord open right now. Let's see. So here we're in update. So this removes the ticks like this. I think we're gonna do another filter. Oh, GZ, I love like the attempt to do the logo in that way, Alka. That looks great. I don't think that GGEZ has an official logo right now, which would be really nice. So we're doing update. Here's the update the ticks. Now we need to, after we do that, remove them. This is gonna be the same thing as the walkers as we remove that. I think what we can do, I'm gonna have to remember this. Does seem to have one using a salt shaker. Oh, I didn't look at that. The original book is written in processing. Let's see. So I want to do self dot foods equals, I think I may want to do this in a separate function and then just call that from update to make it a little bit easier to handle. So we're going to have this be a function remove rotten food. We're going to take in, so we're going to take in the foods. So immutable reference to the foods. And we're going to return a new, oh, so we can just consume the foods. Okay, so here's what we're going to take the foods, which is a type vec of food. We're going to consume it. So we're going to take ownership of this. We're going to essentially destroy that. And we're going to give ownership back at the end to a vec of foods. Yeah, so this is sort of like the fun, interesting part of Rust here. So now what I'm going to do is loop through all these foods coming in and map through them. So I remember we ran into this a little bit. We can go look it up again, but we're going to say, okay, so we're just going to return the result of foods dot into, is it iter mute, I think? So we're going to get a mutable iterator. Then we're going to map. Can I map at this point? We're going to run a closure here where we take an individual food and we're going to return if the food, oh, it's not going to be a map, it's going to be a filter. If the food dot calories, you're not giving me autocomplete. Can I do this? So if the food dot calories is less than food dot, oh wait, we already have this. Food dot is rotten. We're just going to call food dot is rotten. If it's true, we filter. Oh, if it's true, we want to keep it. So actually, I want to change this to like is good. Is healthy. Fun press, interesting part of Rust, complicated plus powerful. Yes, that I would agree with that. It's awesome to see more people doing this. Well, thank you very much. I do try to do this a bit. Or is not food rotten? Yeah, I could do that too. That might be better. So if not, food is rotten. So if not food is rotten, so reverse that. Then we have to collect this all together into a new vector. And we return that. So what are our problems here? Filter. Type mismatch in closure arguments. Oh wait, do I not need to do this? Okay, so that works there. Then collect. Cannot be built from an iterator over elements of type mutable reference to food's food. A collection of type cannot be built from. Okay, the trait from iterators, food is not implemented for the vector or the foods. Like, can I just do that here as the trait? Because like this will return to me a iterator, a mutable iterator. I need to collect that into, and it's just a vector. It's a vector of food. All right, I want to get the better error messages. So I'm going to run this here. Cargo run. Okay, so collection of type, standard vector foods, food. Cannot be built from an iterator, item mute foods, food. Help the trait is not implemented for a standard vector food. So I need to add from iterator. Can I add it to the structure? So can I derive from, what is it? From iterator. You need to flatten the vector, the vec first. Oh, I need to bring in from iterator too? Oh, because it's, okay, so I need to flatten the vec because it's a, I guess like, I don't know why it's, let's see. Foods, iter mute, filter. So we finished filtering through it. It's still an iter mute, but it's been filtered. I need to, wait, so like, what is this that I'm returning? So expected struct found under vec, struct standard iter filter. Maybe there's a different collect type on filter. Because this is iter filter of standard slice foods, food. Oh, there's no help on this one. So that's too bad. Yeah, no help, unfortunately. So I'm thinking, let's go take a look at filter type. Off of standard iter. I don't know if it matters if it's off of standard iter mute. Collect will return a mutable reference, and you're asking for an owned value. Oh, you know what? That might be right. I wonder if, is there like a to owned? It's like, it's borrow. I don't want to do that. So I want to like get some kind of like to owned with that, or like collect that. And there's into, but that's just like generic. Everyone has that. Yeah, we can also try. You could always for loop the vector and clone the foods to another. I mean, I could. I'm trying to do this like a little bit more clever, if possible. Just like one line that with a more of a functional function. So this is iter mute. Now the other problem is maybe I don't want iter mute, but like into iterator. Because that could be a problem too, is I have iter mute. What if I can consume the foods. So if I do into iterator, would you be more okay with me? And then I collect. Aha, okay, so into iterator consumes the foods. The one I was doing beforehand was getting me just a reference, a mutable reference into the foods, but it wasn't like consuming it. But this entire function is okay with consuming it. So I think that's fine. Like this one is what we want to do. Now an update, after we run all the updates, all the foods here, now want to remove the foods, and we're just going to say self.foods equals remove rotten foods and pass in self.foods. And this is self dot. So I forget that disk, we need a reference to self. Cool. That, well, we have an error still. Cannot, oh wait, I don't need this derive anymore. Oh no, okay, so we have a problem still. Cannot move out of self.foods, which is behind a mutable reference. So foods, it is not allowing me to consume foods here, which I think that's too bad. I could, I mean, I guess it could like mutably, just mutably update it. So instead of returning it, I could just say, okay, self.remove. Oh, derive copy and food? Ooh, okay. What is it telling me? It's cannot move out of self foods, which is behind a mutable reference, which does not implement the copy trait. So you're right, yes. Instead of going up, doing something crazy, let's go into food and derive copy. I derive clone, so it needs copy. Or is that because the vector doesn't derive copy and I need to do this? The trait copy may not be implemented for this type. So I need the maybe it's clone. No, so it's still upset about this. Now what if I just clone this? Okay, so I don't need clone here anymore. I don't need copy here. So, I mean, it may not be exactly right, but we're cloning the vector that has the foods, handing it over to remove rotten food, getting a vector back, and then resetting this value. So this is happening every tick, which is probably not the best. Let's see how bad it gets. So movement is still decently fast. Now, when we add a lot more walkers into this, we might start getting into performance problems. Oh, you were right there at the food. These walkers are going to be the most of the frustrating ones because they just wander around and then die. Hey, there we go. We got a walker who's doing pretty good. They don't eat each other right now. They only eat food. But I think we've got this good. We could play with the colors a little bit to sort of make the blue pop a little bit because I can barely see it myself. Do any of you know a good color that I can add in? So like if it's less than 0, it's poisonous. We could add in a little bit of red or a little bit of green into the blue. So what if I add like 100 red and 100 green to this blue? So we'll wait for them to sort of fade away, become poisonous. Couldn't I use a mutable reference to self and remove the rotten elements of self to foods using a map? You wouldn't even need to return a value. Well, so map doesn't return value. Like map goes over each reference, but it doesn't remove anything out of out of it, which is what I would want to do. So this is interesting. Sort of like goes to brown and then it goes to blue, which is like more of a purplish, and that's a lot easier to see. But when it's brown, it's sort of like, that's not healthy at all. It's becoming death. But I kind of like this a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to see. We're going to get a more variety of color. Now we can go take a look at also what we did with let me move you over to the right so we can just watch you until you eventually starve yourself to death or eat a bunch of poison. Okay, so we had the other mod in walkers here. Where was it? So we create all these walkers. Here's our filter. So I just put this directly into the update here. Oh man, it's eating everything now. And it just decided to always move to the left. So that's kind of hilarious. I might want to like cap the size of the walkers or just say like, you win. Congratulations, you won. You ate everything. And there's not even a chance of it growing smaller because all food comes in as healthy. That's kind of funny. I'm just going to stop that because it's a little bit distracting. Okay, so we clone. Okay, here, we do clone. We self.walkers that clone. Then we into iterator. So we're essentially doing the same thing. Then we collect that and reassign it to self.walk. Okay, I'm going to leave it the same because we're essentially doing the same thing here. All right, so do I want to cap? I want to cap the size of the walker now. So when we increase in size, so when we eat, we eat, and then an update. I guess I want to like create a function cap size. This we'll just get a mutable reference to self. We won't return anything. We'll just say if self dot size is greater than, what are we here? We're 10. So I'm thinking if we're greater than, like, I don't know, let's have a maximum size. Our max size, let's make it like 25.0. And then here is self.max size. Then we want to just say self.size, set that equal to self.max size. So that way, we don't just like grow forever. And then cap size will go into. I really have an update, do I? I could put this in. Make this public. Go into the other mod. And an update here, self-walkers. For each, it eats, and then we're gonna walker dot cap size. Why didn't you find that? Now I don't think we'll run into the problem where it just grows forever. All right, so perfect. I think we have what we have in a README is done. So poison a food after it ages. We make it blue for red-green color blindness. I can actually make the food a little bit less of the green, like maybe like 10. And then the last one will be just a different shape. All right, so I'm gonna close down all these windows and push up all this code. So what is this? This is now food gets rotten over time and eventually poisons the eaters and then gets removed. All right, so that'll be that. Let me go ahead and put